Lights, camera. Meet the pros who shape the industry and see what it takes to join them. Beyond the Frame, only at Orange Technical College East Campus.
How you guys doing today? I like to be interactive. You know, we're gonna have some fun. Regardless of how many people are here, we're gonna make it a good time. You're gonna learn something. So yeah, how you guys doing today? You all right?
Doing great, yeah.
All right, good to hear. So as he shared, my name is Jay. Thanks for having me. Thanks for bringing me out today. And hopefully I can share a few things about my story, my journey in entrepreneurship and video production, and some things that it's been able to do for me, and shed light on some opportunities that could be helpful for you as well. All right. So what we're going to talk about is what I call the creator's GPS, essentially a roadmap that helps you turn your passion into a career that sustains your life, because that's what we all want, right? So I want you to take a second, everybody here, I want you to take a second, close your eyes, all right? I want you to think about what your life looks like in 10 years if everything goes perfect, right? Everything goes to plan. What are you doing? Where are you at? Where do you live? Who are you with? And I want you to hold on to that, all right? And now open your eyes. Now, if you were able to accomplish that and get to that place with your passion, who would want to know how? Anybody want to know how to do that? I think I don't want to know how to do it, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's get into it. So in pursuit of that, this is how a lot of people find themselves post-schooling. So you guys are in school, you're learning, you're tailoring your craft. But this is where I found myself after graduating Full Sail. So I went to Full Sail University. I studied recording art, so I actually didn't study video to start. That was something that came along the way. And when I graduated, I remember thinking, I don't know how to grow my business, right? I learned how to do these skills. I learned these abilities. I learned all this technology, but I don't know how to grow my actual business, right? I also feel like an imposter syndrome. Like, I know I'm good. I know I can do the thing. But I don't know if I can actually make a living with this. Like, how am I gonna pay my bills? How am I gonna pay for rent and food and car and everything like that? And I also remember seeing other people who I felt like weren't even as talented as me. You know, just speaking plainly, calling it what it is. They weren't as good as me, but they seemed like they were further along than me. And it left me wondering, okay, well, what am I doing wrong? Like, what do I need to do differently? And lastly, sometimes I would wonder, like, okay, I didn't go to traditional school. I didn't go to a four-year university or something along those lines. So did I make the right decision? That was something else that I felt. And then fast forward, we're gonna go back, we're gonna fast forward. This is what I was able to accomplish. So in the past 5 years, I was able to build a creative business that's brought in over $360,000 in revenue. And I also now have 2 part-time employees that work for me. I have 10 plus independent contractors all across Orlando, Atlanta, contacts in Vegas, Atlanta, I don't know if I said that. And this year we're on track to do about $125,000 to $150K in sales this year. So coming from graduation to now has been a blessing and a shift for sure. So I want to break it down into 3 steps, because too many steps, too many points is easy to forget. So I want to make it something simple that you guys can grasp, take with you, and start to apply. So here's how to follow the creator's GPS. 3 steps: get good, that's the G, solve problems, tell stories. 3 things: get good, solve problems, tell stories. We're going to dive into each of those. So the first one, get good. Start for free and build your network. That's number 1. So what that looked like for me, what you're seeing here, the picture on the left, this is my home bedroom in high school. During high school, during the summers, while everybody else was hanging out with their friends and doing whatever, I don't know, regular kids do during the summers, I was in that bedroom watching YouTube videos, learning how to mix and master and produce music. And I was working with other students who were in high school with me that were interested in music and wanted to learn how to do it too. So I would record them in my bedroom all throughout high school. So that was the beginning of me starting to do things for free. Fast forward, when I came to Full Sail in 2018, so that's when I came to Orlando, I brought my equipment, so you can see those same speakers that were there in my apartment studio, my first year at Full Sail. And I would go to open mic nights every Monday, every single Monday while I was in school, and I would find artists, so music artists that would perform. I would go to them and say, hey, my name is Jay. I do music production and engineering. I'll give you 2 hours for free to come record. Then after that, this is the price. I think when I started, it was like $10 an hour. So by the time I ended up charging like $75, $125. But we'll get into the pricing a bit later. But the main principle is starting for free, building your network. And another big part of that is get testimonials. If you're doing something for free, the least somebody could do for you is take a minute and record a video saying how good you did, right? So always ask for testimonials, always ask for reviews, and just get better. Figure out your steps. So when you do free work, a lot of people are going to take you up on it, right? Because it's free. They're going to say yes. So that gives you an opportunity to dial in your process. So when you do when you do a thing one time, like you're learning how to do it along the way. When you've done it 100 times, you know exactly step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, all right? And when you're doing that free work, getting those testimonials, getting your reps in, building your portfolio, that gives you the opportunity to dial in that process. All right. Next step in the GPS is solve problems. The P is for problems. Identify a specific problem for a specific group of people, and then you're going to identify their next 4 problems. We're going to break this down and create 3 solutions for each of those problems. So first one, identify a specific problem for a specific group of people. On the screen here, we have 3 water bottles, all right? So let's take a look. We got 3 water bottles here. If I told you that this was the exact same water in each bottle, which one would you buy? Anyone, which one would you buy?
The $1 bottle.
Why is that?
It's cheaper.
Right, so it's, in essence, the most valuable, right? This is what we call a commodity problem. If all options appear to be exactly the same, the cheapest option is the most valuable. That's a commodity problem. And that's something you're gonna be fighting as an entrepreneur, day in and day out. So how do we solve the commodity problem? Because we don't wanna make $1, we wanna make the 5, right? We wanna make 5 times as much. So the question is, how do I differentiate myself? And the answer, identify a specific problem for a specific group of people. So you got it right. So now we got the same 3 bottles of water, and I'm gonna create a scenario, right? Let's say you want to get into a job opportunity, right? And they ask for a super long essay to get into the opportunity, but this is your dream job. And the night before, you got super sick, was in a hospital, you was up all night. Maybe let's say to 2 a.m. On your way home, you realize you gotta have this thing done by 8 a.m. and that's gonna set you up for the rest of your life, right? You're feeling tired, you got no energy. Now out of these 3, which one do you think you would get to help you out?
The electrolyte.
You're gonna throw that $5, because what happened is we solved a very specific problem for a specific group of people. Now, Darren here, who might have had a great night of sleep, he's not gonna buy that bottle because it's not valuable to him. But there are enough people that have this problem to make you rich in the process, all right? So find a specific problem. Identify their next 4 problems. So this one is a tough concept for me to capture, and I actually lost out on a lot of opportunities because I didn't understand this principle. And the principle is you can't solve somebody's current problem only. You have to solve their current problem and their next problem, and their next problem, and their next problem. So what it looks like in my business, all right? Problem number 1, core problem, starting problem. I need help creating video content, all right? When I first started out, that was the only problem I'm solving. So let's say the way you figure out your next problem is you create a hypothetical. You say, okay, well, if I solve that, let's say you did have video content, now what's your problem, all right? Next problem, I don't have a content strategy. Oh, okay. So now we offer content strategy and show you what to do with the videos to help you grow, all right? Next problem, so let's say you did have a content strategy. Once again, hypothetical. Next problem, I can't stay consistent with the content strategy I have. Okay, so now you need help. So now you probably need social media management, right? So let's say they can stay consistent. I'm staying consistent, but I'm not getting any leads. I'm not getting anybody coming in and requesting my services. Okay, so we probably need to ramp this up with some paid ads. All right, so now that's the next problem. Next problem, my paid ads I'm getting people in, but they're ghosting me. You know, they're submitting their information. I never hear from them again. Okay, well, maybe we need to create an email follow-up sequence that's going to help them to bring in those people. So now we've solved 5 problems. Now solving one, once they had problem number 2, they might have left us because they're like, oh, this doesn't work. So you have to have the ability to solve those next problems. It looks different for different industries. And then lastly, create at least 3 solution options for each problem. So through this exercise, you will create a total of 15 solutions that you have to offer to this potential person with this problem to help them solve not only their current problem, but several of the sequential problems. And for a guide, these are 3 types of solutions. So a tool is one way that you could do a solution. Like, for example, let's say I can't stay consistent on social media. Let's say we give them a content calendar template, right? So now they have a tool that can help them with that problem. Let's say we create a course and we show them how to create content for different platforms, like what works best for Instagram, what works best for Facebook, what works best for LinkedIn. All right, so now they have a course to help them solve that consistency. And then let's say we do a service, we come do it for you. So that's 3 solutions for 1 problem. So you do that times all 5, then you have your 15 solutions, right? So solve problems, that's number 3. Sorry, number 2. Then the last one, tell stories. So this is one that a lot of people get wrong, right? Because what happens is you're so excited about the solutions that you came up with. You got 15 solutions that you know is going to help solve this person's problems. So what you want to do is say, hey, check out all of these solutions. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. But that doesn't work because of the way the human brain works. No one likes to be sold to, but everyone likes to buy. But what do we enjoy? Stories. That's why we watch movies. That's why we listen to music. That's why we read books. That's why we listen to gossip. Stories, stories, stories. And Donald Miller wrote a book called Building a Story Brand, highly recommend. And it talks about how a lot of businesses get this one thing wrong. They position themselves as the hero of the story, when in essence, you're not the hero. And the reason why you don't want to be the hero is because the hero is flawed. The hero is unequipped. The hero is a lot of times the beginning of failure. They have a huge problem. And what happens is they meet a guide. So let's look at the SB7 framework. This comes from StoryBrand 7, SB7. And there's 7 steps to it. The first step, a hero. This is the main character. 2, has a problem. They have something that's stopping them from being their best selves. 3, and meets a guide. They find or come across someone or something that is capable, understands them, and knows how to get them from their current situation to where they want to be. 4, they give them a plan. They lay it out. This is what you have to do to achieve Z, right? And then calls them to action. Here's the first step. Take it right now. This is when we do it, all right? And then 6, to help them avoid failure. These are the stakes. If you don't act now, this is where you could end up. You don't want that, right? Stakes, help them avoid failure. And then number 7, and achieve success. This is what success will look like if you follow this plan on the end of that with me. Now, out of those 2 things, most brands make the mistake of positioning themselves as the hero, talking about themselves, talking about how great they are, about what they can do. In essence, what they're doing is making themselves look weak. The hero is weak. The hero has a problem. The hero needs help, right? And that's not what we want to position our brand. We want to position our brand and our business as the guide. We're here to help you achieve your transformation, avoid failure, and achieve your goal. And we just play a part in that process, right? So a couple examples to get some real world examples of this framework. So what is this? What is this picture of? Yeah, Luke Skywalker and Yoda. All right. This is from Star Wars. So Luke Skywalker is the hero in this. He has a problem. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know if he's going to be able to fulfill his destiny. And he comes across Yoda, who is his guide, who gives him a plan. So he tells him, hey, this is how you're going to train. This is how you have to think. This is what you need to know to defeat your enemy. And he calls him to action. He says, you're going to have to fight Darth Vader. I don't know a word for word off the top of my head. But he has to take that action to help solve that problem. Okay. So Yoda gives him a plan to learn and learn the ways of a Jedi. And ultimately, he avoids failure, so he doesn't get defeated, his world doesn't get destroyed, and he achieves success. So that's one example of the SB7 framework. Another one is the Matrix. So Neo, you guys seen the Matrix? Kinda? All right. So a Cliff Notes, non-spoiler version. All right, I'll try my best. So Neo is in a fake world, a virtual world, and he has to come out of reality. Well, he has to come out of the virtual world into reality. And the virtual world is very nice, but it's not real. And he has to make a decision, okay? So his problem is, do I want to face reality, or do I want to live in a fake world that seems nice when actually robots are taking over the world? So that's his problem. And Morpheus is the guide. So when he comes out into the real world, he meets Morpheus. And Morpheus shows him around the real world and says, this is what's really going on, right? Now, and calls him to action. Well, he gives him a plan. He says, these are the things you have to do in order to be your best self, in order to defeat your enemies, to live in the real world. This is what you have to do. And he calls him to action. He gives them 2 pills. And he says, you take this one and you go back to normal. You know, you can live the fairy tale life that's not real, or you can take this one and you're going to be your best self, and you're going to understand and open your eyes to the reality of where we are. So he makes a decision. I won't tell you which one. And in essence of not spoiling the movie, he either helps him avoid failure, achieve success, or the other way around. I'll let you watch it, figure it out. All right. So these are 2 examples of the SB7 framework. And who recognizes this? Anybody seen this before? Any of these slides?
Yeah.
All right. This presentation that we're doing right now is SB7 framework. And it helps stimulate engagement. A hero, the creator's GPS. Turn your passion into a career that sustains your life. You're the hero. Has a problem. And I identified and aligned it with the problems that I have. Meets a guide. And we establish competency. Like, okay, I've been there, I understand it. I'm able to help solve this problem. Gives them a plan, the creator's GPS. Get good, solve problems, tell stories. Calls them to action. Haven't gotten there yet. Help them avoid failure and achieve success. Haven't gotten there yet. But this is a zoom out so you can see that SB7 framework in action. So call to action. Connect with me on LinkedIn, all right? I encourage each of you to connect with me, follow me, ask questions, and I challenge you to send me 5 problems that you can solve. So start with a core problem, next problem, next problem, next problem, next problem. All right, 5 problems. And then achieve success with the creator's GPS. If you follow these principles, you get to do what you love, get paid, help other people in the process. Without the GPS, you never get to do what you love for enough money to support your life. Out of those 2, I definitely go for the first one. So, thank you.